Hello, 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 and welcome to I Sell Medicare Plans podcast. This is the podcast where everyone who's in these Medicare streets comes to find out what's going on in Medicare, how do you do it, why you should do it, what makes us all love it. And this is where you are going to hear from a very special guest of mine today. Today, I have with me Forrest Tuff, who actually started business, I believe, when he's 3, because if you're looking at him, it looks like he's only about 20 some years old, but he's been in business for 20 years. Can you imagine that? 20 years. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning. How you doing? So glad to be
I,
here.
I am doing well. I'm so happy that we could fit into your busy schedule just for a very few minutes to get to know more about you
Oh, my pleasure.
and your company, One Vision Productions.
Yes.
I'd like for everybody to know before we get started that you are in Gwinnett County, Georgia, but your business expands internationally so that anyone who is watching this podcast and you need to get in touch with Forrest, the information will be in the comments. So you definitely will be able to reach out to him. But he's going to tell us and share with us what it is that he does so well that he's international and how he goes about it and how you can get in touch with him.
As you said, I've been in business now for 20 years. I started my media production company in 2004, and we focused really on just creating memories. We started out doing weddings, birthday parties, anything that really focused on creating a great memory for anything that you've done. And over the years, we expanded into the corporate and government sector, and that's really where we lay our heads right now. We do a lot with the federal government, a lot with major corporations and small businesses in the space of branding, and really helping to create productions that actually get their vision and mission out to their ideal customers. And so we've had the opportunity to work with organizations that were here in the US. And, we start out in Georgia, but we've really branded out within the Southeast regions, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida territories. And we've had the opportunity to do some work internationally with different clients, and some in Australia and London and Africa. So that gives you a high ideal about how I started in my business and how we got going in this space.
Oh, great. That's wonderful. I'm so happy. I'm always happy to hear when businesses are able to expand. So, actually, your business sort of focuses and how our audience might be helped is you are focusing on helping them to brand. Is that
Absolutely.
correct?
Absolutely.
So, the branding part is tell us a little bit about why is it important for someone to brand themselves?
Well, here's the thing about branding. We need to know who you are. It's one thing when you work for a major corporation. Let's say you work for Coca-Cola, Pepsi, it's someone that already has an established brand. Then you have that credibility that goes with that major company. But when you start your own organization, now your credibility really is about you and maybe your work history. So it's important that as you start a business, even though you have the information and the know-how, you have to step back and figure out who am I and who am I selling to people. Because when you come out as an independent or a small business or a new business, they want to know your history, not the history of the Medicare company you work for, or not the companies that you've been with over the years. That matters, but now they're dealing with you. So you have to try to establish that credibility through your customer service, through your imaging, how you present yourself on social media, so that your customers will have an opportunity to start to trust in your company.
Now, which of those areas you mentioned the social media and getting ourselves out there as ourselves, which of those areas are you focused on? What does your business actually do?
Well, we handle the media perception. So when it comes to, let's say, the logo image of your company, the message that you put out, how you market to your consumers, helping you to identify who is that consumer that you're looking for, and how do you go about presenting an image to them that's worth buying or that speaks to that professionalism. So that's what we do. We really focus in that media space because right now, so many people are consuming media. They're consuming it everywhere we go on their phones, just sitting at home watching it. So that's a really important place to help brand your image.
Are there any special colors, or is there like with fashion, during the seasons, colors change, or someone might say, oh, green is the color for 2024.
Yeah.
Well, are there any special colors or anything that we should be looking for in our branding?
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever walked into a medical office and the walls were all white and you just feel nervous? You instantly tighten up and they're like, oh, let's take your blood pressure. You're like, it's going to be high because I'm just nervous. But if you walk in and they have a blue room or a green room and it sets a different mood that's calming, those make sense when you start to do the research on how you present yourself. So, absolutely, colors can play an important part in how you brand your image. And it's important to do the research to know what that's going to look like for each individual organization.
Well, I know that shades of blue, and I just found out though that yellow really makes me pop. But shades of blue, so in most often in my videos, you're going to see me in some shade of blue only because it complements my skin tone, my hair color.
Absolutely.
So I know that already, but now I'm starting to branch out with yellow because yellow really, really makes me look elegant.
All right. And
So
it adds element of exciting for you. When I saw you, I said, "Wow, look at her! She's really popping today with that blue and the blonde hair looks great."
well, thank you. And I said when we first came on that you must have gotten the memo because I see you have some blue too.
Yeah, I wore a little blue. It helps calm, and we're getting to know each other and talk to this new audience, and maybe these colors are something that make a difference. Like you say, when you're watching a podcast, colors do matter.
Oh, great. Okay,
Mhm.
now is there anything else other than actually I know in branding and what I generally when I'm coaching someone and we're starting with branding, I try to emphasize the importance of actually saying who you are, but saying it in your words. Are there any keys or any notes we should know about how to actually say who we are to the audience?
Yes. Now, when I go about this, I usually start with what is the mission? What are you trying to accomplish? Let's start there at the grassroots. What is it you want to do? Who is your ideal customer? And then let's talk about that vision because really the mission and the vision of your company are going to be the things that establish how you go about doing what you do. And in my opinion, once you can establish that, that's the way that you can tell people who you are. Because I always feel any individual that's starting anything, they need to know who they are first before you can tell someone and convince them that you are the thing that you're actually selling. So when we start with that grassroots of just identifying what it is you're offering to your client, and of course, when you're in a space where you're offering similar things, you have to find out what is that differentiator for you. It may not be that the service is that much different, but how do you go about providing that service? What are those things that you do that the other person might not do? We really talk about customer service, being someone that people can, talk to or say, hey, listen, we pick up the phone. That's something we do. It could be the smallest thing that could change the narrative for your business. So a lot of times I do focus on the minute things that may seem, that doesn't matter, but those things matter when you're trying to differentiate yourself and find your share in the marketplace.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because that is so critically important in branding. I have a book and it's called Customer Service Equals Customer Sales
Yes,
because customer service is so important. When you can do something that someone else can't do and you do it better, but letting everybody know that that's what you do, that's what's going to definitely help your bottom line.
absolutely.
So now that you have an established company and you've been doing this for some time, are there any points that you might think of that would be specific to Medicare insurance professionals? Anything we should be doing differently that you can think of?
Well, I would say this for anything, especially in this industry, you have to be flexible. You have to stay on top of what's happening in your industry. And this can be applied to anyone, but especially in this industry, things are changing, they're evolving at fast rates. And you have to be flexible within your mindset to understand that even though you may not like a change, even though it may not fit with what you think it should be, you have to remain flexible and find ways to adjust to the market to stay competitive. Because let's be clear, when you start a business, the object is to make money. Let's be clear. Yes, it is to provide a service, but we start a business because we want to provide for ourselves, for our family, to be able to take vacations, to be able to save for retirement. So it's not just about providing something that makes people feel good. And in order to do that, you have to make money. And I will repeat this. We are in the business of making money. So in this profession, you have to make money. You have to be open to things that may not necessarily fit with you personally, but you have to have an ethics base, and you also have to have a base that focuses on making money and being able to pay bills to keep the doors open.
Obviously, we want to help people. And in your mission and vision statements, you might say that you want to help people, but you're absolutely right, Forrest. You're bringing it right to the bottom line, means by helping as many people as you can, you're also helping yourself. I also did a short on it is better to give than to receive. So when you're giving, if you're giving more of yourself, you're giving more of that customer service, you're going to receive, you'll receive 100-fold back. So definitely we want to position ourselves to be there, to have an open mind, have a flexible mind. One of the things that I think, and I'm going to ask if you agree or disagree, that when you're in business, it is not what you want. It's not, it's what the customer needs. And you need to be an expert at what you're doing so that you can guide the customer to what is going to satisfy their needs at the time. Do you agree?
Absolutely. You know, one of the things that I hear a lot is, I'm starting my own business. I get to be my own boss. And I'm like, absolutely. I've had thousands of bosses since I started my business because that's the nature we're in. And if you think about it, when you work for one company, if you work there for a while, you have an idea of how they like to do things. You know that, hey, this is what's going to happen. If this project manager goes this way, I know his spiel. But when we work with clients, you work with people and they all have different needs. And so I reiterate this because flexibility in your mindset is the thing that you're pushing. You're not pushing your company. You're not pushing your brand, your business. Yes, you're selling them on it. But the thing that really gets the buy-in from the client is that they feel they've had an experience that they may not have somewhere else. So you're very attentive. You listen. Listening is key. And I will say this, even when you're the expert, your biggest asset is your ability to listen to your clients, because a lot of times they'll tell you what they need. And if you pay attention, you can provide them a service without overselling things that they don't even need. So I would say listen to those clients and make sure that you give them the things that they need in order to keep them coming back, because that's how we keep those doors open. Retention with our clients and providing a service that they feel they can't get anywhere else.
Now, what is the best way for someone who really is just starting out and needs to brand themselves? I agree with you. I think they should start in their own backyard first.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
Well, you can contact me at info@forresttuff.com. Now, the reason I say that, because if you're looking for media production, you can contact my company, One Vision Productions, info@onevizprod.com, and we'll have that information for you. But I also offer coaching services. So if you need one-on-one mentoring or coaching, if that's something you think would help you in that space, you can contact me personally, and then we can work on looking at what can help you in that space to brand yourself. But when you get into that space where you're like, hey, it's time to do some commercials, some ads, some print, and we need to polish that image, that's when you contact the production company and we'll help you in that regard.
Thank you so much, Forrest. Are there any keys or any notes or anything that you would like to leave with us today?
Yes, I will leave you with this. This is the most important thing you should know as a business. Now that you've done all this great work, you look great, you smile great, you've provided this service, I need you to be very, very astute with your finances. So financial literacy is the piece that keeps the doors open. After you do all of those great things, you have to be smart with your money. Reinvest. Don't make a big piece of money and go take a crazy vacation. Put that money back into the business. Put some aside for yourself because you need these things for rainy days. Because one thing I'll tell you about business, it's just like the seasons of the year. There's going to be a spring, winter, summer, fall, and you have to prepare for when you have those winters to be able to keep those doors open and sustain the business.
Oh, Forrest, that's great. That's a great point. Thank you so very, very much. And that's applicable to everyone. Thank you so much. It doesn't matter where you are in this business. Listen to this point. That's some great advice. Thank you so very, very much. And thank you for being my guest today. I
It's been my
appreciate
pleasure.
your taking just these few minutes out of your busy schedule, knowing that you have some things going on that are making your life a little difficult right now, but I really, really thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.